Good morning, everybody. Just out here, it's about 7:33 in the morning here in Nokomis, Florida. Got about a 13-knot wind coming out of the north right now, so I am pedaling right into the north, and it's tide's going out, so we have two things going against us this morning to make the exercise just a little bit better. It was just about 1 year ago, just over 1 year ago, we had two massive hurricanes hit this area 2 weeks apart, and we're pretty much recovered, but there's still a little work going on here and there. You might see some of that today. This guy's getting his dock fixed over here. These folks just repainted their house. Still working on that. Looks good. If you're not familiar, I'm on a Hobie ultralight kayak. This is not like a regular kayak where you think about regular kayaks with a paddle. I'm actually pedaling, as you can see here. And then I've got a regular seat with all the way down to a drink holder. Makes it a lot more comfortable. Usually by this time the sun would be poking out, but it's going to be overcast, I think, all day today. But yeah, this Hobie kayak is actually an inflatable kayak. Hobie makes a number of different versions of their pedal kayaks, but this one is about fully loaded, fully outfitted. It's about 20 pounds. And it's great for recreation, fishing. It's very sturdy. You don't really have a sensation you're going to flip over. I've only flipped it one time, and that was because I startled a bunch of manatees that I didn't know were underneath the water. And that is one of the risks of kayaking this early in the morning. You just can't see everything that's underneath you. The water is super clear. You might be able to see that in a little bit, but manatees sit right underneath the water and sleep right above the water line, and they sleep right underneath. So if you see shadows, and you probably can't see the shadow right now, every time you see a shadow in the water, you're thinking, that could be a manatee. And they pop up their little nose to breathe. They don't always expose their entire body. Most of the time they don't. They just pop their nose out of the water to do a quick breath, and sometimes it happens right in front of the kayak, off to the sides. When it hit last week, I was out here, and probably about 3 feet in front of my bow, a manatee popped up. And this particular kayak does not have reverse, so I just swung it around really quick, and thank goodness didn't startle that guy, because they weigh 500, up near 500 pounds or more sometimes if they're super old, and they can flip over this kayak pretty easily. As this little channel gets narrower, the resistance becomes much greater on me. These are all mangroves over here. If you're not familiar with mangroves, mangroves are like an incredible, well, first of all, they are an incredible plant. Ironically, They're a freshwater plant. You mainly see them around salt water because they do a great job protecting shorelines and coasts and so forth. They're one of nature's wonders. They filter out about 90% of the salinity that's in salt water, so the plant can live and thrive. It pushes the salt to the bark as well as to some of the leaves in the plant, so you might be able to see, it's still a little dark, but you might be able to see some of the leaves are yellow. That doesn't mean they're yellow because it's fall. It just means that is where the plant itself has pushed its salt. It's killed the leaf, but it saves the plant. Pretty amazing stuff. And we have 3 different types of mangroves here in Florida: red, white, and black. Each one of them has a little different look. Hey everybody, got Raj on here, Shakira, Martin. Oh. If you're not familiar with where Nokomis Beach is, or Nokomis, Florida, it is near Venice, Florida. If you don't know where Venice, Florida is, it's about 30 minutes south of Sarasota. If you don't know where Sarasota is, just look on a map of the U.S. and Florida, look at Tampa, Florida, and just go south. You'll find us. We're about an hour south. Sarasota's about an hour south of Tampa, and we're about another 20 minutes south of there. So that is where you'll find me. I see a whole bunch of stuff over there. I don't know what that is today. What is that? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Not sure what that is. It wasn't out here the other day. We'll be around there soon enough. Oh, it's just another kayaker. Here, I thought it was some huge find, and it's just somebody else kayaking this morning. To my left, this way, you've got Casey Key. Casey Key is a pretty cool little island. It has about maybe 500 year-round residents. That will balloon up to about 1,000, maybe a little bit more in the wintertime. Absolutely amazing homes. These are just across the street from the Gulf of Mexico. And we've got which I'd prefer to be on this side, honestly. The ones on the beachfront just take a whooping during hurricane season, that's for sure. This house is brand spanking new. I'm not sure if they've moved in there. Oh, I guess they have moved in there. There's some furniture, but yeah, they've probably only been in there a couple of weeks. See that massive generator they have there on the side? They'll keep them going during a power loss. The Key last year, after the hurricanes, lost power for a couple of weeks at least. And they're still doing a lot of repairs on the roads that border the Gulf. And hopefully, with the repairs they're putting in, It'll keep the road from washing away in the next major storm. This has always been one of my favorite houses. It's kind of quaint. Not much of a backyard though. If you're looking for a big backyard, that's not the house. Talking about manatees earlier. Manatees will be moving out of here pretty quick and heading up what's called Indian River, and it's an inlet near a power plant. Keeps the water a little bit warmer. Manatees have to be in water that's at least 70 degrees to do well. They can do oh, there's a dolphin, guys. All right, so you're lucky you're on right now, because hopefully we're going to see a dolphin pop up here in just a second. I heard him breathe. The problem is you never know where those little guys are going to pop up. I'll keep my eye out, my ears open. We'll see. We'll see. You never know. I'm looking for any disturbance in the water. This is one of the most difficult things to figure out. Where, oh my God, there he is. There you go, guys. A little dolphin action this morning. There he is, he's continuing on. So obviously this is one of the cooler things about being able to get out in the water. There's so much nature around you, and believe me, I've had boats. I've had all sorts of boats in my lifetime. I think we have another dolphin right behind me. I hear something breathing. So I'll do it, Yui. See if we can get another glance. What the dolphins like to do is they like to, oh, he's starting to go out. The dolphins like to just go right across the shoreline, because that's a lot of fish hang out there. So they will just patrol the shoreline and look for fish in the morning, and then they chase the fish into the shallows, disorientates the fish, and then the dolphin can gobble them up. But again, if you like, I see a dolphin way up there. You might have saw that fin pop up. He's up there by that blue boat, so we'll step it up a little bit. A lot of times they'll hunt in packs, and they'll, might be a family of dolphins, so they'll talk to each other underwater and figure out how to trap a fish or two. Believe me, you could come out here. There's a lot of dolphin around here at all times, but you don't know exactly where they're going to be, obviously. You could come out here 10 times in a row, never see a dolphin. You could come out here 10 times in a row and see a dolphin every time. It's so hit or miss. So I'm glad that we're able to at least see a dolphin today. We'll see if any more pop up. This house over to my left, it's a gorgeous house. Before the hurricanes last year, they had a massive, one of the biggest pool cages you could imagine. And it got blown off during the hurricane. All right, I see the dolphin back out there. He's more into the intercoastal waterway now, where we're gonna go. It's gonna be very windy out here, a little more windy than in that protected cove. So this house was for sale for a very long time. I don't see the for sale sign anymore. I don't know if it's still for sale or not, but they've got their hurricane shutters all down. It's a gorgeous house. This is actually this is the front of it. There's a whole nother side to the house. This is just kind of like the rec area, I believe. And there's the regular living quarters behind it. It's really nice. All right, I'm gonna have to pedal a little bit, so I'll just take you along for the ride. Again, now we're more in the heart of there's that dolphin again. We're gonna see if we can't just clock that dolphin, see if he follows us up. But this is the Intercoastal Waterway in Southwest Florida. The Intercoastal Waterway in this part of the Intercoastal goes for about 165 miles roughly. It goes from Tampa, Florida down to Naples. Of course, there's an Intercoastal Waterway that runs all the way from the panhandle of Texas, or panhandle of Florida, all the way down to Mexico. A lot of boats traverse that every year. This is just a short passage, but a pretty cool passage. In wintertime, which is coming up here very soon, a lot of folks with their yachts, all they do is just go back and forth. They'll go from Tampa down to Naples. They'll stay at different anchorages, different yacht clubs and so forth, different restaurants. They'll just turn around and do the same thing, but on reverse. From Naples, a lot of people will then go down to the Keys. The reason I'm not any closer to the shoreline, it's actually a sandbar in there. You might be able to see those birds in the sitting over there. They are literally basically standing on the sandbar. So it gets pretty shallow unless you're hugging the shoreline, which I don't want to do. Because then you get stuck. You get stuck. You might have just saw that fish jump. That's another thing you have to get used to down here. Fish, like mullet especially, they jump all the time out of the water. It freaks you out, especially when it's quiet. When it's windy like it is today, it's a little less scary because you don't hear them as much, but you see them flying through the air. It's craziness. A lot of times people say that, oh, they could be being chased, they can be cleaning their gills, which is a weird one, or what I think is most truthful is they see something flying above the surface and they try to eat it, try to jump and get it. Might hear a seagull squawking in the back behind me. That dolphin's still over there. You're probably not going to see him. He's pretty far out, but he's kind of right in the middle. I'll stay pointed over there. Maybe you'll see him pop up. They're very curious. I've had dolphins come, basically swim right next to this kayak, wondering, what I'm doing out here. Who am I? Another big fish jumping. See what that? See? Oh, that was a mullet jumping right there. If you got to see that. Sorry, I'm moving the camera around. There they are. Let's see if he jumps again. Yeah, you'll see him. Maybe I'll do one. They usually go in threes. I don't know if he might have done two already. Another kind of cool thing is we have spotted rays out here, and other types of rays, but those rays will actually, they'll fly out of the water. Nothing will scare you more than a stingray jumping out of the water about 2 feet in front of your face when you're not expecting it. If you're expecting it, hey, I'll take the ray all day long, but I try to get out on this stretch and a couple other little stretches around here at least 3 or 4 days a week. It's a really good way to start your day. It's great exercise, though you wouldn't really know it if you saw me, and you're like, wow, I just enjoy my Tex-Mex probably a little too much. If I didn't, I'd probably be in amazing shape, but it's a good way to get a nice workout. You're out with nature, and again, you see cool stuff like the dolphins we saw earlier, fish jumping. And when it isn't overcast, you have amazing sunrises. This is a very nice time of the year. Like right now, it's only about 71 degrees out here. Wintertime, it'll be just a couple of degrees cooler. Not much cooler, though, but just a few degrees cooler. Summertime, you got to get out early because it gets too hot. Humidity is very low today, too, so that's nice. I try to get my wife to come out with me in the mornings. She prefers to sleep when she doesn't have to go to work on the weekends. I prefer to sleep as well, but we have a Labradoodle that gets me up at 5:30 in the morning. All right. This whole area here is no wake. Right over there. I don't know what that is right there. Did you guys see that? It looked like a turtle. Well, we'll see in a second. It could have also been a cormorant, but we will tread lightly. And right on the other side, right where that boat's at, that's where the wake zone starts. And that goes for about 3 miles, not even 3 miles, 2 miles, and it becomes no wake again for about another 2 miles. And this property here is so cool. It has, of course, those majestic palm trees, but it has like 3 different buildings. It's like a family compound. They used to have like parrots out there. Oh my God, they were loud. They would squawk, and they might still have them. Maybe they're covered up, I don't know. But man, they would squawk every time you came back there. All right, we're gonna do a U-turn and head back. We're gonna go straight down the intercoastal on the way back. I think the very first time I ever kayaked out here, right in this exact same spot, This is years ago now. I was in this spot and I'm kind of pedaling away, and a manatee popped up talking like right next to me. And I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. There's a lot of seagrass underneath me right now, and that's the main source of nutrition for a manatee. Many of these, oh, what is that? What is that right there? What was that? Gosh darn it. I don't think it was a crocodile. It would have probably came to investigate me a little bit more. Look more like a sea turtle. You know what? We're gonna do another loop. Keep your eye out here. See if it pops back up. It's probably inquisitive on what I am, just as much as what it is. I'm trying to keep an eye too on the underneath me to make sure I'm not disturbing anything underneath me. All right, we'll come back around, do one more loop before we head back. All right. Keep your eyes open. Will we see anything? Just waiting. It was right about here. Gosh darn it. Oh, he's up there now. What the heck is that? Now I'm inquisitive. You see that moving right there? I'm not talking about the boat. I'm talking about, it could be an otter. It's right there. You see the disruption in the water right there? All right, come on. Let's see who are you? All right, we got to see this. What is this thing? Otter? Turtle? Show yourself, buddy. Okay, we're looking. See, I think he's over here though, because I see a disturbance in the water, but that could just be wind. He's messing with me. Come on. All right, we're trying to do one more Yui. He's right around here somewhere, or her, I don't know. All right. Well, that's another one of the fun things. You never know what you're going to encounter, and it's fun to try to investigate what type of wildlife you're looking at. We now actually have crocodiles up here. Not many from what I've seen, but I have seen some crocodiles. A crocodile, I shouldn't say crocodiles. I've seen one crocodile, but where there's one, there's probably two. Where there's two, there's probably 10. So that's another thing I'm always on the lookout for. And when you go kayaking early in the morning, when it's still a little dusk out, even dark, every time you see any sort of reflection in the water, you immediately think that it's something that's going to eat you. Like I said, you see a lot of dolphins out here, and dolphins are easily recognizable. Even when you don't see their faces, you see their one vertical dorsal fin and their flat tail. If you see multiple vertical tails or vertical fins, that's a shark. We see shark here every so often. I've got a rule, they've got a rule. Don't bother them. I don't bother them, they don't bother me. I'm now out here chumming the water trying to fish. I do try to steer clear of almost every fisherman I see, because that's where, of course, everyone likes to hang out. There's that house I was talking about from the other side. You can see the metal roof behind the brown building there. Or the higher pitches, I should say. That's actually the front of the house. The metal roof is a different house. They're gorgeous though. Casey Key is a pretty wild place. Not wild, but a couple of very nice beaches here in Nokomis. We have Nokomis Beach, and then we have the North Jetty Beach. We're very close to Siesta Key. If you're familiar where Siesta Key is, we're literally, if you could just drive there from beach to beach, you'd only be about maybe 15 minutes away, but you can't do that. You have to get on the road. So you're about 20 minutes with traffic. I actually prefer our beach. Siesta is very nice. The sand there is bright white. It's because it just keeps on forming. There's some underground mountains, underground plates that are just rubbing against each other out in the sea, and they're pushing in this beautiful quartz sand. So it's bright white. But the bright white in the summertime is super, super hot. You'll get to see now how a Hobie kayak how well it can take a little bit of a chop, a little bit of a wave, some action. Easy peasy. I honestly thought we'd have a little bit more wind behind our back. It's kind of calmed down. It's funny, when you live in Florida, you get very addicted to the weather. And it's not just because I'm an old man, and I'm really not an old man, but it's because weather plays such an important role in our daily lives here, from the heat to rain to wind. It changes constantly because the Gulf is right next to us. And what's funny is rain. It takes a lot of, when rain comes from the east coast, in pushing west, it takes a ton of energy for it to make it past, like within like 3 miles or 4 miles even, as the crow flies from the Gulf. A lot of times it will just literally die out. If you look at a map, you'll see Interstate 75, which is about maybe 5 miles from the Gulf. Most of the time, storms die out at I-75. They just cannot make it past there. Every day, they come across the state and just stop. But then we get a lot of storms as well that come in from the Gulf. We get quick rains. We'll get a massive downpour for like 20 minutes, and then it'll be nice out again. We get that almost every day in the summertime. Wintertime, it's pretty dry here. That's why people love coming to Florida in the wintertime. One, the weather's very nice, especially this part of Florida. And you don't get a lot of rain. Summertime, it does get a little humid, but again, you honestly get used to it. Would I prefer it not to be 75% humidity and 85 degrees or 90 degrees? Yes. But you get used to it. Here you're going to see how the tide is. The tide's going out. So we're getting a nice pull right along here. These pots here are for different types of crabs. Right now they're probably going for blue crab. A few more months they'll be going for stone crabs. Right in front of us over here is the Hobie Bridge. And we have a couple of great little waterfront restaurants, Pelican Alley, Pops. Pops is a favorite of just about everybody that comes into town. They got great live music every day, fun drinks. Pelican Alley's got amazing food. They had just redone their whole restaurant last year, right before the hurricanes, getting ready for the season, and it got 100% flooded again. These poor folks, they rebuilt it all again. Looks amazing inside. They have these seafood nachos that are to die for. Highly recommend them if you go there. If you go to Pops, highly recommend the skinny margarita. I've had a few too many skinny margs there from time to time. What's nice is I can ride my bike to Pops, so I don't have to worry about getting behind the wheel. All right. Somebody had asked if we're in Florida. We are in Florida. West Coast Florida, Southwest, about 20 minutes south of Sarasota, hour or so north of Fort Myers and Naples. This is the home stretch here. It's a cool little pontoon lift. You drive your boat right on there. I've had a lot of pontoons before, but I've had like the regular types of lifts. Boy, I wish we had had one of those. That looks a lot less expensive, a lot less maintenance, but still does the job. It keeps your boat out of the water. It's another fairly new house. You can probably tell. I think they've been in there about a year or so. Got a really cool deck on top, which I'm sure they can look right out to the ocean, which is nice. Whoop. Usually this time of day, this is the Nokomis boat ramp. Usually this time of day on a Saturday, the boat ramp would be hopping. But again, the weather is a little iffy in the Gulf, so a lot of people aren't going out there. Some serious winds. You'll get some boats out there for sure. Those white birds that you see right there, those are egrets. Got a couple of small guys, a couple of big ones, and that's a big great heron there on the dock. I don't know if you can see him, he kind of blends in. It's a really nice boat here. You'll see the outboards on the back. It's got three looks like 300s, 400s. I don't even know how big those engines are. I can't see, but the outboards here are critical. You know, a boat of that size, pretty much anywhere would have inboards. They have diesel inboards. But here, it's critical. It's much better to have outboards because there's so much shallow water. You're able to tilt the engines up so you can get into shallower water, like sandbars and those types of things. If you don't have that, you're kind of screwed. All right, guys, I'm coming in to the kayak lunch. There's somebody over there, I think, trying to catch some fish or something. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm gonna end it. Thanks so much for joining me today. We got to see some cool stuff, some dolphins, an otter maybe, I don't know, otter, turtle, who knows what the other piece of wildlife was. Have a great day. Stay salty.